We broke this story last week and it continues to be topical. The Gauteng Department of Education expected to send its representatives to investigate the mushrooming of illegal so-called private schools in Katlehong's Ivory Park. Our reporter, Mahlako Komane, is on it and we've spoken to her already this morning. Mahlako, let's come back to you once again. What is the latest?
Yes, good morning indeed, Desiree. We are at another of the schools that we had been to last week, Thursday, the school that was in a church hall. And what we're finding here, I'm actually just going to move out of shot a little bit just to show you the number of parents and children that are here. It's my understanding that when parents arrived here this morning, the church hall door or the church venue was locked and children had to be standing here, and parents then decided to come and try and find out what was it that was going on. Now, you'll remember last week, more specifically at this particular location, this was the area where the learners were using pit latrines, those very, very unhygienic conditions that were happening. And also, you saw also in the visuals that we had was the live wires that were on the floor. I mean, very unsafe conditions to have children of a young age being exposed to. And we also spoke to the pastor here because we couldn't find the principal when we were here on Thursday. And the pastor had told us that this was not, they weren't paying fees, that they were actually accommodating foreign nationals here. And it was a project and there was no payment of fees. We then came back on Friday. We had we heard a different side of the story from parents who were saying they were very shocked when they found out and when they were watching on the news that them saying that they had documents and they were actually paying monthly fees. I have some sort of with myself here. I have it's one of those documents that you get at the school, an enrollment form of some sort. Our legacy combined school, grade R to 3 is 250, grade 4 to 7 is 300 rand, grade 8 to 9 is 450 rand, and those are the registration fees. And the school fees, I think every month is 250 for grade R. Grade 1 to 3 is 400, grade 4 to 7 is 450, and 8 to 9 is 550. But this was not the information that we got when we spoke to the gentleman here last week, that we spoke to here last week. So, but I am going to ask the pastor right now to actually clarify that for us and also to just give an update as to what is it that is going on here, what is it that's happening. I mean, we have scores of children outside here that's schooling is not continuing, and some hostile people here as well. But nonetheless, we are also expecting the department to make its way here to address concerned parents as to what is it that is going to happen. We heard the MEC saying on Friday that he won't be negotiating closing down schools. What he will, however, that should be negotiated is what then happens to the children, where will they get placing. So I'm just going to speak to the pastor that we spoke to last week that told us about what was it that was happening here, saying that this was not a school. Mruti, last week you told us that there was no school here. We have conflicting information. Within 24 hours, parents were very shocked to hear that they were not. This was a free. It was a free project. Them saying that as far as they know, their children were coming to school. Can you explain yourself there as to? I mean, as a man of the cloth, what's the story?
Nyabonga, Mama. Thank you for. You know, I didn't. Maybe. I don't know where was the contradiction when it comes to the principal. When he came here, he came with our legacy combined school. And then we told him, I personally talked to him saying, Baba, the school is okay, this is my vision. I see the children who were already on the park during the school time. So I'm worried about that. I spoke to him. Then it seems like we understood each other until it was last year November, when I hear that, no man, His school, no, not last year. His school it's not registered.
So you knew as early as last year that the school was not registered, contrary to the information, Muruti, that you gave us on Thursday.
It was last year. Then we said to Baba, let me see the papers, please. I asked him, but I heard about the teachers who were having, they left those first group. As I said, our legacy then seems like it's dying. So, but me and the church said, no, Babas, give us your.
Let's just wrap it up and get to the point.
Yes, give us the papers. Then if you have the papers, then we can see. He delayed bringing the papers. Then the church said, no, we're going to close the doors if he doesn't bring the paper until April or May. When if I find that he's not registered, I said, Babundlov, please let's stop this. I can assist you because this is my vision. I also want the school, Christian school, to be run here. But the unfortunately part...
Did you or did you not get the papers? Let's start there. Did you not?
Yeah, he brought the papers.
Of registration. And you verified this with the department?
No, when I saw that it's only the papers as a business entity.
So you're saying that he brought these papers?
He brought that papers.
The papers that seems to have your name on it with
exactly.
The You're a partner in this. You're a business partner in this.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I said to him, okay, because it's not registered, Baba, let's stop here. Let's continue with the project because I had the project that I told him about. So let's continue with it until we register the school.
So and then the long and the short, in the interest of time, are you saying that this is a school or is it a project? Which is it?
No,
is it a school or is it a project?
I was coming there.
No.
I said the school must stop until it is...
We have time constraints.
Yes.
Is this a project or a school? Let's start there.
To my understanding, it's a project.
It's a
because
project. All right, great. Let's talk to you, Ntate Ndlovu. You're the principal. I mean, you're the man of the moment here. Can you just tell us, is this a school or is it a project? Is it a school or is it a project? What do you understand that you are doing here?
It's a school.
It's a school.
As you can see.
So where does the project misunderstanding come in? Are you running a project or a school?
Project is now the running part of it. That's where
Are you okay? Are parents paying a monthly fee here?
Yeah, they are.
Sorry?
That's the truth. They are paying.
They are paying. So
The
parents
truth.
are paying here every month. Where's the money going?
The money is used to pay the teachers, the educators.
And?
Yeah, those ones who are getting their money as a stipend. Pay the teachers, pay the expenses for running the school on a daily basis. All the consumables for the school.
What are consumables?
Consumables, the pencils that they write with.
Okay, let's not lie now. Or not be too forthcoming with the truth. In your enrollment forms here, there's a list or stationery list. So obviously it's not that it's non-consumables that you're talking about, unless there's other types of non-consumables. Is this a business between you and Muruti here, or what's going on here? I need to understand, because the documents that you showed us here on Friday is a registered company with Cibro, with you and the pastor on it. So is there a profit sharing scheme going on as well, or can you explain to us?
There's definitely no profit sharing scheme.
So you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart?
Exactly, especially me. And him also, he has got the passion for this.
You're doing this in the name of charity or what? I don't understand.
It's not possible to call it charity like 100% because of the nature of what's going on here. It's a school. There is no way you cannot have expenses because you'll need to make copies for homeworks. You'll need to.
I just heard a gentleman here behind the pastor saying it's a project. Is this thing, what's going on here? I think you need to be forthcoming, sir.
I really think that you should ask you should ask the very same question. It's a good question, but to the wrong person. You should.
Mister, you're not the principal.
You asked me, is it a school or a project? I said it's a school.
So are you the owner, the principal?
So
what is your role in the school?
I'm not the one who said it's a project. So if you had a certain gentleman saying it's a project, I would have.
Okay,
it's ethical for you to go to that person who said it's a project and let him explain to you. I didn't say it's a project.
Okay, no, great. I hear you saying it's not a project, it's a school. The pastor here, who's also on your CPRO documents, is saying it's a project. Who's not telling the truth here? Maybe we need to... Mruti, you are a man of the cloth. We expect more from you.
I emphasize that. If you can bring us the document, the same document that he showed you last. It's clearly, it's when we start saying it's on July 26th. If I'm not mistaken, that I came late. July on the 26th this year, that I said, Mr. Androv, let me assist you. I know many people who can assist us because this registration of a school needs money. So we need to go to churches who will understand us.
So you were looking for donations from the church?
I said to change this from the project into the school. But now I said, no, we cannot run this while it's still illegally like this. If you can see my name and see the date that that's when I said, I want to assist you, Babundlov. I know many people, I know pastors, churches who will be willing if we bring them the business plan. Right. They will be willing to assist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Desiree, as you've heard there between the pastor and the principal, one says it's a project, the other one obviously telling us that this is not a project but it's a school, and I have a company certificate here with both their names, the principal and the pastor. And indeed, the pastor was appointed here in 2019, according to these papers. But obviously, there are still some conflicting issues as to, we still haven't really figured out, is it a school, is it a project? But parents are saying here, as far as they know, they're bringing their children to the school. The pastor saying that he was going to approach churches for funding. I'm not sure how he was going to be approaching churches when this is still not registered. What we have established here is that this school is not registered, and I do not think it meets the criteria, the safety requirements of the municipality, with live wires on the floor and running sewer and pit latrine toilets.
It's just proving so difficult as you're trying to uncover the facts there. But for all the time that you have been there, what is your sense? Do you get a sense that it's a criminal activity, or are people genuinely frustrated because they're not able to have access to the formal schooling system?
Desiree, what I'm picking up here when I'm here on the ground is that, I'm going to assume that it's a little bit of both. There is some sort of situation here in this school, and in this area, and we are going to obviously need the department to then give us a breakdown of the availability of schools here and the spaces and the number of children. It's also quite concerning is how do we then trust those statistics when you have schools like this that I'm told there's more other schools in other parts of Ivory Park that are operating like this. People have obviously seen an opportunity and they're cashing in on it. And it's very unfortunate that unsuspecting parents are falling victim to this. A lot of these parents, some of them saying that they had asked about the registration details. They were told, or they were assured that the schools were registered, and obviously by the time you want to start in South Africa, in a law-abiding country, when you want to start a school, there are necessary processes that you need to follow, and none of this, it would seem, have been abided by here. To then come back and say it's a project or it's a charity, that does not take away from the fact that children of a primary school going age are being given some sort of education that nobody can verify what is it that is happening here. You'll also remember that when we came here last week, it was just one church hall. The entire primary school was in the hall. And today when we we come here, Desiree, when you go to the back, was then the playground. I don't know what it has become. It looks like people are putting up informal. It's a squatter camp is literally brewing behind the church since we were last here on Friday. So, Desiree,
Mahlako, do you know or have you heard of any of the schools perhaps closing down as a result of this expose, or is it just business as usual?
What we saw this morning on the other street, this is about a street away. What we saw this morning was it was business as usual. Some children walking with themselves to school, others with those concerned parents. I mean, at the previous place where we were at that particular school owned by a Ms. B. Mpofu, we then understood that some parents did actually come. There was one parent in particular that had 3 children in the school. We understood from her that her child had been there since grade 1. And I was livid. I mean, she says she's livid. She was under the impression that this was above board, concerned that who will then take her child come grade 8 next year. A lot of angry parents. But this lady came out, this Bridget Mpofu that came out and told us that she's known by Panyaza, she's known by district officials. They had been there, she's been talking to them, and everything is fine. When asked to confirm that on camera, she refused. Instead, she tried to turn parents against SABC, telling them that they won't be talking to us because we are not the Department of Education. They don't owe us any form of explanation. When we left the earlier, parents were saying that they want the principal to come and address them. Parents are waiting. It's going for 10 o'clock, if not 10 o'clock already. Parents are waiting for the department to come and give them some way forward, because a lot of them saying that they had seen the MEC making that undertaking that these schools will be closed down. Theirs is now to find out where are children going. Seemingly that is the greatest concern of parents. Some parents there as well expressing the issue of documentation. You'll understand that the type of area that is Ivory Park, a lot of people from in the country and also outside of the country, there were those parents that have the issue of documentation that they decided to bring their children here because they don't have the necessary documentation. So it's going to be a very interesting juggle to see what is it that MEC is going to do here, but also quite importantly, how many of these schools will he be closing down? Because it's our understanding that this it's just not isolated to this area. It's a rife thing here where anybody can open a school. We can decide tomorrow to go to Cipro, have a company, and tell unsuspecting parents that this is indeed a school.
And of course, some parents having to stay away from work in efforts to try and bring a solution to the situation. How are they feeling about the fact that the Department of Education is not forthcoming? Yes,
we had parents that we engaged with saying that they did have to take time off work. They need this issue resolved. It is so late in the year. This is the 3rd term. It's my understanding that I think children are already beginning to write those 3rd term tests leading up to the end of the September holidays. Parents saying they need some sort of way forward because they don't want to come here. The department closes down the school and they haven't engaged with them or they haven't gotten some sort of commitment. There were also some parents also expressing that it's almost impossible in this type of area that they live in to be able to take care of their children every day to see where they are. They need their children to go to school. They're worried that their children may fall prey to drugs, yonyawopes and the likes. They were very concerned about that they need their children in school. And some of them saying wherever they get placed, they need their children in school. But also what was also quite interesting that came out in my conversation with some of the parents there, and this was an issue that I also asked the MEC, was that some parents are saying they have an issue of transportation, that if they be given a school that is away from Ivory Park, where they cannot walk, where children, it's not within a walking distance for their children, they have to get transport, saying that they cannot afford. I mean, you'd also appreciate that this area is an informal area. We know unemployment is a huge challenge in our in our country. But it's very interesting dynamics, Desiree, that are really playing themselves out here. You know, with some parents feeling that things should be allowed to continue as normal, other parents saying that they're really concerned about if their children can then move back into mainstream education, if they can move back into your government schools after this. So it's very interesting to watch those interactions between parents, but also, you know, very tense where parents are hearing one thing when the camera's off from the powers that be here, and once the camera goes on, parents are hearing a different story.
Have you been able to speak to some of the learners, and how do they feel about all of this uncertainty?
I heard a parent saying that her child was in tears because, you know, school, as far as they know, school is closed because learners had come here earlier on in the day and in the morning rather, and the church door was locked. There was a lock on the door saying that some of the children are really distressed. You would understand. I mean, this is children as young as 6, 7, and 8. They really just want to get going with the business of school, seeing their friends coming to learn. We were suddenly taking them out of that routine. Also, some parents also expressing that concern that children are being taken out of their routine, their daily routine of knowing that you go to school. Some parents also expressing that they actually moved their children out of schools to bring them here. Now they must move them back. Very uncertain times for the parents and the community of Ivory Park.
Clearly a lot more to uncover. Mahlako Komane, thank you so much for bringing this story to us. You're watching The Agenda. What do you think about that story? Let us know at theagenda_SABC. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment.